What's poppin', y'all? If you're making 10K a month, are you in the red? Are you going negative? I don't know, because this streamer has been getting torched on the timeline and people making videos about her because she broke down her finances in this clip for her making 10K a month and saying that's not enough.
Y'all know how expensive it is to keep up with content creation? You could get a 10K check from Twitch. What the f is a 10K check when you gotta spend 5K on trips just to travel, $500 on setup, fucking $2,000 on your rent, fucking $200 on Wi-Fi, $200 on IRL toolkit. You gotta pay the clippers, pay a YouTube editor. Chat, I don't think y'all realizing I be going into negative doing this. Okay?
Now, I do have a bit of a nuanced take on this, and number one, it's easy to just dunk on her. And I think a lot of the time when we see a certain number, like, keep in mind, this is not 100K a month, but we see a certain number and we think, whoa, that's like, how do you spend that much? And frankly, I agree. The first thing that I went to look towards is what type of content does she create? Because if you guys remember, or maybe you don't remember, but Ice Poseidon, who's a IRL streamer, he's the OG of IRL streaming. He did an interview with Adam22 on No Jumper years ago, and he talked about how much money he was making. He's like, yeah, I'm making $20,000 a month. Keep in mind, $20,000 a month back then as like a live streamer or just a content creator, and people weren't really sharing numbers. He was open about everything. You're like, damn, dude, 20K? That's crazy. Now you see people making 2 million or something like that. But he broke down how 10,000 of that went to just his expenses because batteries, you lose batteries, cords. He had a crazy rig back then because it wasn't as common. So the industry hadn't caught up to making it very, very easy to stream. So yeah, this whole backpack setup and that stuff always like falls apart. So that ended up being a lot of the cost, but 10 grand, and he was constantly traveling because you can't just be doing the same thing in the same place every day. People get tired of that. They want to see you in new places, new environments. For an IRL streamer, that is. So what I decided to do is, instead of just wailing on this chick, because I think it's anytime a chick complains about something on Twitch or as a streamer or as a content creator, there's a lot more piling on that happens than when it's a guy. That's something I've noticed, and I've got to be fair here. I remember there was this old clip of this one girl that was like, oh, you're only giving me $5, and keep in mind, she sounded so entitled. She deserved everybody to hop on her back. But when there are guys that say stuff like that, I don't think it goes anywhere. Partly because the majority of the audience is male, and males aren't gonna cry and complain about some guy demanding something unless he starts to get disrespectful, but males will complain about a female doing it, and she is in a male dominated space. Now, in the past couple of years, a lot more female streamers have blown up, but the audience and the viewer base is still predominantly male, and it will continue to be for, hell, likely the foreseeable future. It's still a niche thing. With that being said, though, I decided to check out her streams, because if she's got streams that are consistently IRL, then it would make sense for her breakdown, because her breakdown was as follows. It was 10,000 Twitch paycheck, 5,000 for travel, 2,000 rent, 500 stream setup, 400 Wi-Fi IRL, and pay editors. Now, what you can't fight against is the stream setup and the IRL Wi-Fi toolkit. You're not going to knock those prices down. You potentially could, but those are completely understandable. The pay editors, this varies wildly. Now, the problem is a lot of people don't know how to hire properly, especially like content creators. It's more of a business type thing. So many of them just end up giving percentage deals to editors, or the editors know how much they can ask for. And then sometimes the streamer's like, oh, I guess this is how much I have to pay. So she could be getting upcharged like a lot and paying a lot because maybe she just doesn't know how to handle operations. But those are musts. Like, she needs editors. Otherwise, she can't stream. Like, you want her to stream consistently and then edit the stuff. I'm not going to say it's not feasible, because many people started off that way. But if she has the capital for it, or the excess capital, then it makes sense for her to allocate that to editors so she can continue to make the content, which is going to get her bigger and bigger. Now, the $2,000 rent, I've seen some people talking about like, yo, that's crazy for rent. Is it? It's like, dude, she's not living in South Carolina. She's not living in Oklahoma. She's not living in maybe Kentucky. Can you even get those rent prices like under that or half of that? People talking about half this rent. You guys are tripping. I don't know where this lady lives. I checked her Twitter. It says Tampa, Florida. It makes sense. $2,000 in rent. And Tampa's not even a tier 1 city. Like even Dallas would be $2,000 in rent. And Dallas is not a tier 1 city at all. But if you're talking about tier 1 cities, like let's say LA, San Francisco, New York, maybe a Boston, a Miami, a Seattle, or Chicago. I don't know if Seattle's a tier 1 city, but Chicago, Miami for sure. Those are, 2 bands in rent. You're not even going to get a place for 2 bands in most of the cities that I just named. So I think the rent is okay. But then when you get to travel, the $5,000, it's like, okay, I could see it if you are constantly traveling for your content and it's IRL. Then it totally makes sense. And let me be clear, she didn't say that it wasn't enough. I didn't want to misquote her. Earlier, I said that it feels like she said it wasn't enough, but she said, I'd be going into the red. That's what she said. And it's likely in a response to somebody saying like, yo, you're making all this money. So I decided to look at her previous streams, which most of the people that decided to hate on her didn't. And when I take a look at this, I see that most of her past broadcasts are not even IRL streaming. A lot of it is on the desktop. Like as of late, like she's just playing Marvel Rivals, doing just chatting stuff. Every now and then she'll go to an event, but most of it is her playing Marvel Rivals or another video game. Like she did a Houston IRL, a streamer prom. That's probably where she spent most of the money, but the majority of her content is on the desktop. So hey, listen, I tried to give you, she was at Streamer University as well. So Streamer University and DreamCon. Okay, so it seems like she's doing a hybrid of events and her own content, as in like just staying and playing video games. So it seems like a hybrid content format. Like she'll go to the big events, but she won't consistently be doing IRL streams. Now these events, I don't know if she's getting, if it's free for her to go to, which it probably is, then the ticket cost goes away. But then there's the hotels and the flights and the food. And yeah, that's going to cost. Like you want this chick to stay at a La Quinta? Like, come on, man. But I wanted to hear what she had to say. So she said the following: I never once complained about getting a 10K Twitch check. Let's start with the fact that the entire video was taken out of context. My chat was spamming things like, you're rich. You should be able to buy clothes. Why aren't you paying mods? In response, all I did was explain, not complain, how a 10K check could be quickly eaten up by expenses, especially for streamers coming out of Streamer University who had a lot of trips and events planned afterwards. To clarify, I did not receive a 10K check, but the expenses I mentioned were very real and accurate. Here's the breakdown. $4,000 for 3 trips, me and my cameraman's expenses. I took right after Streamer University. Trips I don't regret at all. They helped me meet other amazing creators and create a lot of content. Now this is where things really cost. I don't know if she's getting, because if she's getting 2 flights, everything doubles. So 3 trips, 2 bands. Let's say there were 2 bands for, it would have just been her, but then you've got the cameraman. Now you could say, does she need a cameraman? Because a lot of the people that were OGs, not even OGs, but like, let's say first generation of IRL streamers, and still many IRL streamers, like Joey Chaotic is an example of somebody that doesn't have a cameraman and he just walks around with his own camera, filming himself. So cameraman is, I think that's more of a luxury. So I'm willing to critique that one. Like, hey, listen, you could just have someone hold the camera for certain moments, but you don't need one, especially if you're not making enough to where you don't even think about the cost. But then this cameraman needs to get fed. They need to get separate hotels unless they're together or they're staying in the same room with 2 beds. I don't know that situation. Really not looking to dig that far into it. But then $400 to buy an IRL streaming setup, my first one ever. So that was a one-time cost. $2,000 on basic living expenses. That's completely understandable. $200 on home Wi-Fi. I don't know what kind of Wi-Fi she's got, because I've got the max Wi-Fi that you can get, I believe, and that's like $130 or maybe $140, but yeah, $60. Maybe it's a different type. And then $150 for an IRL toolkit. Completely understandable. That's a one-time cost. And that's just what I can recall off the top of my head, not even including tax. Sure, I could have stayed home and avoided traveling, but I wouldn't have made the connections I did or gained the opportunities that came from those experiences. That context matters. And yeah, I think this makes perfect sense. The problem with this is that this gets 38.3K views, and everyone else saying that, oh yeah, you know, she's saying that she's making 10K and that's not enough, gets hundreds of thousands upon millions. And one clip makes this person look like it completely takes it out of context, because especially the dynamic between a Twitch streamer and their chat while they're still growing, there's this banter. They're like, dog, you're rich. And a lot of them don't really mean that they're rich, but then the streamer has to fight back. They're like, nah, I'm not rich. And they're like, yo, pay your mods. You don't pay your mods. And then they're like, well, what the hell? We got to pay mods. I remember they were coming at Kai Cenat for that. And Kai Cenat is different because he's filthy rich, and Kai Cenat, when you get to a certain level, I could understand maybe. The thing with mods is if there's someone that's willing to do your job for free, and do it just as well as you, why would that person be incentivized to pay you? And someone's going to say, well, bro, just because. Okay. Yeah, that really makes a lot of business sense. Like, please, let's not appeal to emotions here. So for this chick, it seems completely reasonable. 10K goes fast, and it's the traveling, man. I told you. So she'd have 4,000 extra if she just sat at home. But if she just sat at home, I think this is a really good example of it being worth reinvesting. Like a lot of people just be like, oh, reinvest. I don't necessarily believe in that. However, making connections, her getting out there and meeting a ton of people, that will serve her when she goes back home, because now she can do desktop streams with these other streamers. Like one of her recent streams was with, who was it with? I think it was with she was playing some video game with Your Rage and these other people. She was playing something with some popular streamers. And she probably wouldn't have been able to do that had she not met these people from these trips. So the only thing that I really have to criticize is the cameraman option, or the cameraman expense. But other than that, I think this chick just got clipped to hell. And this is one of those things where not all promotion is good promotion, because most of the people seeing this, they're not going to say, oh, let me check out. People aren't even going to go and do what I just did, which is the bare minimum of being like, is this chick really like that? Or let me just do a quick search, and then getting the context, and then you're like, well, this seems pretty normal. But let me know what y'all think about this. Is she still tripping? How would you reduce these expenses? Do you think that she shouldn't have even gone to post Streamer University? Like a lot of people, they lost money on Streamer University. Well, the expenses for Streamer University were paid, but you would tell someone that they were dumb for not taking advantage of Streamer University and putting out good content afterwards. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one.